India is a sea of contrasts, where beauty and dirt dance side by side in a fascinating choreography. Imagine walking through vibrant streets, surrounded by colors that explode at every corner and aromas that awaken the senses. But wait! At the same time, you might encounter a scene that challenges all expectations, where reality is as raw as it is surprising. The bustling cities reveal stories in every gaze and at every turn. Have you ever thought about what it's like to live in a place where spirituality intertwines with everyday life? As you admire a magnificent temple, the chaos of traffic and the hustle of urban life can pull you back to reality, serving as a constant reminder of the daily struggles faced by millions. What drives someone to confront this duality? Perhaps it's a passion for life, or maybe it's the relentless search for something deeper. Every experience in India can be an invitation to reflection, a mirror that not only reflects the culture, but also the complexity of humanity itself. Get ready to dive into this universe where every moment is a new discovery, and life presents itself in all its intensity. When I think of India, the first thing that comes to mind is the richness of its cultural diversity. At every corner, there's a new tradition, a new festival, a new way of living that fascinates me. From the vibrant celebrations of Diwali, with its lights and fireworks, to Holi, where colors blend in a dance of joy. It's impossible not to be swept away by the contagious energy of these events. However, this exuberance does not hide the challenging realities that permeate the lives of many Indians. Poverty and social inequality are a constant that challenges the beauty of traditions. As I walked through the streets of Mumbai, I was struck by the glaring contrast between luxurious skyscrapers and the slums that stretch right alongside them. It's a shock that made me reflect on how these two realities coexist in the same space. Indian culture is rich and diverse, but it also carries the deep marks of inequality. The traditions that celebrate life and prosperity are often overshadowed by the daily struggles of millions trying to survive under adverse conditions. What's most impressive is the resilience of these people, who find ways to celebrate life even when circumstances are challenging. Life in a rural village is a world apart. There, traditions are lived in a more palpable and intimate way. Festivals become occasions for community unity, where everyone gathers to celebrate, share, and support one another. However, the reality of rural life is also marked by challenges, such as lack of access to basic services and job opportunities. The contrast between urban and rural life reflects the complexities of Indian society, where modernity clashes with tradition. It's an intricate dance between past and future, rich in stories and lessons. What impresses me the most is how these experiences intertwine. People move between these worlds, carrying a piece of each with them. A woman who leaves her village to work in Mumbai brings the traditions of her hometown, while young city dwellers rediscover their roots when they visit the villages. This constant exchange of cultures and experiences enriches Indian society, making it a fascinating mosaic of contrasts. In summary, India's cultural diversity is one of its greatest treasures, but it is immersed in a reality that cannot be ignored. The traditions and festivals celebrate life, but they also remind us of the inequalities that persist. It is a journey of constant discovery, where each step reveals a new layer of the complex Indian cultural tapestry. The difference between life in big cities and rural villages in India is a theme that has always intrigued me. In cities like Mumbai and Delhi, the hustle and bustle is palpable. The streets are always filled with people, cars, rickshaws, and a cacophony of sounds that reflect the urgency of urban life. The fast pace, the bright lights, and the job opportunities attract millions, but at the same time, they create an environment where loneliness can become a constant companion. Life in the cities is full of promises, but also challenges, such as stress and fierce competition. In contrast, rural villages offer a completely different view. It's a world where time seems to stand still, and traditions are passed down from generation to generation. People live in harmony with nature, cultivating the land and celebrating the seasons. Life here is simpler, but no less rich. The direct contact with nature and the connection to the community create a sense of belonging that often lacks in big cities. However, this tranquil life also hides its difficulties. such as lack of infrastructure and access to essential services. Everyday life in the cities is marked by a constant search for growth and success, while in the villages, the search is for stability and community. It's interesting to observe how these scenarios shape people's perceptions of life. Many young city dwellers rediscover values they thought were lost, such as the importance of family and simplicity, when visiting the villages. At the same time, rural residents, upon visiting the cities, are often seduced by the shine and promise of a better life, even if it means letting go of their roots. However, the phenomenon of urbanization is altering this balance. Often, villages are losing their young people who seek opportunities in the cities. This migration has a profound impact on rural communities, facing loss of workforce and, in many cases, disintegration of social ties. It's a complex dynamic where the quest for better living conditions can lead to a loss of cultural identity. Thus, urban and rural life in India is a dance of contrasts. Each scenario carries its own beauties and challenges, forming a rich mosaic that embodies the Indian experience. The lessons I've learned from each of these worlds are invaluable and make me reflect on what it truly means to live a full and meaningful life. The natural beauty of India is breathtaking. From the majestic mountains of the Himalayas to the paradise beaches of Goa, the richness of landscapes and biodiversity is impressive. During my travels, I was graced with views of lush rice fields, dense forests, and sacred rivers that cut through the land. Indian nature is a testament to the strength and diversity of life, and it's impossible not to feel inspired by its grandeur. However, this natural beauty is threatened by a concerning reality: pollution and environmental degradation. In major cities like Delhi and Mumbai, air pollution is a serious problem. The sky is often shrouded in a dense haze, and the smell of smoke and pollution is a constant presence. Urban life, with its frenzy and development, often forgets the consequences it has on the environment. What should be a vibrant and healthy place to live transforms into a challenge for public health. It's disheartening to see how nature is being sacrificed in the name of progress, leaving a trail of problems that affect the quality of life for millions. Meanwhile, in rural areas, the situation is more complex. Although nature is still more preserved, the pressure to expand agriculture and exploit natural resources is growing. Excessive use of pesticides and deforestation can harm delicate ecosystems. The quest for economic development often conflicts with the need to protect the environment. It's a constant struggle between progress and preservation, and rural communities face the challenge of finding a balance. Furthermore, the pollution of rivers, which are considered sacred, is an issue that deeply troubles me. During my travels, I witnessed the beauty of a river that, in some stretches, was filled with trash and pollution. Seeing nature being degraded in such a way is a sad reminder that modernity often ignores the responsibility of caring for the planet. The spiritual connection people have with nature is often overshadowed by the reality of environmental neglect. The fight for nature protection in India reflects the global challenges we face. Awareness of the importance of sustainability and the need to preserve biodiversity is growing, but there is still a long way to go. The beauty of Indian nature is a gift we must cherish and protect, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. The challenge is to find ways to harmonize development with conservation, creating a future where natural beauty can coexist with social and economic growth. When I think of Indian cuisine, the intense aromas of spices, the heat of curry, and the explosion of flavors that invade the palate immediately come to mind. Each dish is a unique sensory experience, capable of taking anyone on an unparalleled gastronomic journey. The diversity of ingredients used, from rice and lentils to a plethora of fresh vegetables, reflects the cultural richness of the country. And who can resist the charm of a plate of biryani or the delights of a warm samosa? However, this feast of flavors often collides with the reality of food hygiene in the country. On the flip side, when I sit in a restaurant or at street food stalls, a certain apprehension can arise. The lack of hygiene in some places is a concern that cannot be ignored. It's common to see food being prepared in conditions that would make many Westerners hesitate. Clean drinking water is a scarce resource in many areas, and contamination can be a serious issue, especially in large cities. This duality between the pleasure of food and the uncertainties about its safety fuels a reflection on how Indian culinary culture faces daily challenges. Moreover, the issue of basic sanitation is a recurring theme in discussions about public health in India. Many communities still struggle to access adequate sanitation facilities, which directly impacts food quality. The result is a vicious cycle that affects the health of the population, particularly children. At the same time, Indian cuisine is one of the most admired globally, and this fame carries a responsibility to ensure that culinary traditions do not compromise the health of those who enjoy them. Still, gastronomy plays a fundamental role in bringing people together. Family gatherings, festivals, and celebrations always revolve around food. The simple act of sharing a dish can transform strangers into friends, and this is something we cannot overlook. It's interesting to note how, even amidst challenges, food becomes a symbol of resilience and adaptation, showing that despite adversities, life goes on and culture is preserved. In the end, Indian cuisine is a microcosm of society. It reflects both the beauty and the sky is often shrouded in a dense fog, and the smell of smoke and pollution is a constant presence. Urban life, with its frenzy and development, often overlooks the consequences it brings to the environment. What should be a vibrant and healthy place to live transforms into a challenge for public health. It is distressing to see how nature is being sacrificed in the name of progress, leaving behind a trail of problems that affect the quality of life for millions. Meanwhile, in rural areas, the situation is more complex. Although nature is still more preserved, the pressure to expand agriculture and exploit natural resources is growing. The excessive use of pesticides and deforestation can harm delicate ecosystems. The quest for economic development often conflicts with the need to protect the environment. It is a constant struggle between progress and preservation, and rural communities face the challenge of finding a balance. Moreover, the pollution of rivers, which are considered sacred, is a deeply troubling issue for me. During my travels, I have witnessed the beauty of a river that, in some stretches, was filled with trash and pollution. Seeing nature degraded in this way is a sad reminder that modernity often ignores the responsibility to care for the planet. The spiritual connection that people have with nature is often overshadowed by the reality of environmental neglect. The fight for nature protection in India reflects the global challenges we face. Awareness of the importance of sustainability and the need to preserve biodiversity is growing, but there is still a long way to go. The beauty of Indian nature is a gift that we must cherish and protect, not only for ourselves, but also for future generations. The challenge is to find ways to harmonize development with conservation, creating a future where natural beauty can coexist with social and economic growth. When I think of Indian cuisine, the intense aromas of spices, the heat of curry, and the explosion of flavors that invade the palate immediately come to mind. Each dish is a unique sensory experience, capable of taking anyone on an unparalleled culinary journey. The diversity of ingredients used, from rice and lentils to a myriad of fresh vegetables, reflects the cultural richness of the country. Who can resist the allure of a plate of biryani or the delights of a warm samosa? However, this feast of flavors often clashes with the reality of food hygiene in the country. On the other hand, when I sit in a restaurant or at street food stalls, a certain apprehension can arise. The lack of hygiene in some places is a concern that cannot be ignored. It is common to see food being prepared under conditions that would leave many Westerners uneasy. Clean drinking water is a scarce resource in many areas, and contamination can be a serious problem, especially in large cities. This duality between the pleasure of food and the uncertainties about its safety prompts a reflection on how Indian culinary culture faces daily challenges. Additionally, the issue of basic sanitation is a recurring theme in discussions about public health in India. Many communities still struggle to access adequate sanitation facilities, which directly impacts food quality. The result is a vicious cycle that affects the health of the population, especially children. At the same time, Indian cuisine is one of the most admired globally, and this fame brings with it a responsibility to ensure that culinary traditions do not compromise the health of those who appreciate them. Nevertheless, gastronomy plays a fundamental role in bringing people together. Family gatherings, festivals, and celebrations always revolve around food. The simple act of sharing a dish can transform strangers into friends, and that is something we cannot overlook. It is interesting to note how, even amidst challenges, food becomes a symbol of resilience and adaptation, showing that despite adversities, life goes on and culture is preserved. In the end, Indian cuisine is a microcosm of society. It reflects both the beauty and the challenges of life in the country. While the flavors enchant us, the issues of hygiene and sanitation remind us that reality is complex. Each dish is a story, a tradition, but also a call to action to improve living and health conditions for the population. In India, spirituality is a fundamental pillar of everyday life. From an early age, we are immersed in a world of rituals, festivals, and celebrations that are deeply rooted in religious beliefs. The diversity of religions, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, among others, creates a vibrant cultural mosaic. Participating in a puja, a worship ceremony, or a festival like Diwali transcends mere religious observance. It is a collective experience that unites people in purpose and joy. However, this spiritual richness coexists with a complex social reality. The caste system, which has shaped social interactions for centuries, still persists and often dictates people's destinies. Discrimination based on caste is a delicate topic that generates tensions and injustices. It is distressing to see people treated unequally, often for reasons that seem so distant from the culture of welcome and unity that spiritual traditions promote. The contrast between spirituality and social realities is a dilemma that permeates the lives of many. Moreover, the search for spirituality often intertwines with the struggle for rights and equality. Social movements have emerged, calling for justice and inclusion, challenging norms that have long been established. The fight for women's rights, for example, reflects the disparities that exist within society. While spirituality offers solace and hope, it is essential that it also inspires actions that promote equity and respect. The spiritual connection is not limited to religion, but extends to practices such as yoga and meditation, which have gained worldwide popularity. These practices are seen as pathways to self-discovery and well-being. The quest for spiritual and emotional balance is a trend that resonates with many, regardless of their religious beliefs. This intersection of spirituality and mental health is a positive aspect that points to a future where awareness and empathy can prevail. Ultimately, India's spiritual traditions are a source of hope and transformation. They offer a space for reflection and growth, even in the face of social adversities. Through spirituality, many find the strength to fight against inequalities and build a tomorrow where harmony and respect are central values. The journey continues, and spirituality, with all its complexities, serves as a powerful guide in this quest for a more just world. Have you ever stopped to think about what it means to live in a rapidly growing city, like Mumbai or Delhi? I, for example, witnessed the constant struggle that residents face to adapt to this frenetic pace. The population growth seems endless. Every day, thousands of people move to the cities in search of a better life. But with this, the existing infrastructure becomes overwhelmed. The streets, already chaotic, turn into a real challenge for those needing to get around. One of the biggest issues in this scenario is the lack of adequate housing. It's striking to see how, amid skyscrapers and luxury shopping malls, slums spread out on every corner. I often wonder, how is it possible that in one of the fastest growing economies in the world, there are still places where people live in such precarious conditions? These contrasts are shocking and make me reflect on society's priorities. What good is accelerated economic development if we can't ensure dignified housing for everyone? Another pressing aspect of this scenario is the availability of basic services. Clean drinking water, for example, is a daily battle for many citizens. I have seen entire families organizing themselves in lines to get a bit of clean water. While on the other side of the city, luxury buildings boast swimming pools and water jets. What impresses me most is the resilience of these people, who face these challenges with determination, but deserve more than just survival. We need solutions that truly address everyone's needs. The transportation issue is also critical. The public transport system reflects the city's haste, but often falls short. I've had experiences on overcrowded trains where people are so close to each other that it becomes hard to breathe. In a city with a growing population, the demand for efficient transport becomes vital. We need innovation, but also planning that considers the well-being of all citizens. Lastly, urbanization brings with it a psychological aspect that we cannot ignore: loneliness. Amidst so many people, it's easy to feel isolated. The speed of daily life often makes us forget to look around and connect with others. I have the feeling that amidst all this growth, we need to find a balance between modernity and humanity, so that Indian cities do not just become large metropolises, but welcoming homes. Now, speaking of modernity, I can't help but mention how India has become a true hub of technology and innovation. This fascinates me and fills me with hope. Amid the challenges the country faces, like poverty and inequality, companies and startups are shaping the future. I have seen young entrepreneurs coming together to discuss innovative ideas and how they can impact the lives of those around them. One of the great milestones of this technological revolution is the information technology sector. Indian companies are making a mark on the global stage, offering services ranging from software development to artificial intelligence solutions. I can't help but admire the capabilities of these professionals who, even with limited resources, manage to create products and services that are changing lives. This creativity reflects Indian culture, which has always valued knowledge and education. Moreover, innovation is not limited to the digital world. In recent years, I have seen initiatives that aim to solve social problems through technology. For example, projects that use apps to connect farmers to markets, making it easier to sell fresh products and reduce waste. This integration of technology and social needs is an important step towards promoting more inclusive and sustainable development. Another point that catches my attention is the government's role in encouraging this technological revolution. The implementation of policies that support startups and invest in digital infrastructure signals recognition of the importance of technology for the country's progress. I see that while we face challenges, we also have the opportunity to build a more promising future through innovation. Finally, technology is a powerful tool, but we must always remember that it should be used to benefit everyone. Digital inclusion remains a persistent challenge, and I believe that if we can unite efforts to ensure all people have access to these innovations, we can transform India into a country where economic development goes hand in hand with social justice. So, everyone, now that we've explored the complexities of life in India, it's time to reflect on all this. Have you ever thought about how beauty and dirt can coexist in the same place? This duality is fascinating and teaches us so much about the local culture. Imagine walking through vibrant streets, smelling the spices, while the colors of traditional clothing dance before your eyes. And at the same time, you face realities that shock us. How do Indians cope with these contrasts daily? And we can't forget the incredible stories that each person carries. Have you thought about what life is like for a homeless person in Mumbai, or the daily routine of a merchant in the markets? These experiences connect us in ways we can't even imagine. Now, tell me, have you ever experienced something similar on your travels? Or were you surprised by a culture that challenged your expectations? Share your stories in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more amazing content like this. Let's explore the world together.